What's the story, everybody? Welcome to deMars Radio, episode 17. Just gonna see how everything is running at the moment. I know we had a bit of a choppy intro there. Yeah, episode 17, guys. We've got a great show ahead of us. Got some wonderful guests and some local Irish music as well. So let me know how the experience is already so far for you there. I might be a little choppy, so let me know in the comments, and I'll see if I can fix it up a bit. Dave Duggan in the house. Dave, what is the story, man? Let me know. Is it a little choppy? I think I'm using a lot of CPU today, so I might need to redo the stream on a lower bit rate. We'll see if we can maybe continue with this one. Let's see how it goes. But I've got some great tunage for you very shortly. I'm going to slap on a little bit of music just while we make sure everything's okay. Yeah, looks to be running smooth, guys. Welcome to deMars Radio. On this lovely grey, is it grey out there? Grey Wednesday afternoon. It's quite nice to be a little bit more cooler in the gaff than having the sun beaming in while doing this, so nice little change. Yeah, so we got some great guests today. We have Richard Hernandez, who's the sax player for Vintage Vibes. He's also done some work with a couple of my projects as well. So we're going to have an interesting chat about music, obviously, and about the music scene currently and what state it's in, and what we can possibly do with musicians for work. Music live in the community. It's not an interesting conversation. And my second guest will be Cal Pacino and Caleb, singer-songwriter based out of Waterford. Two singles. His most recent single being Box Shoot, which we did play a couple of weeks ago. And we're going to just talk a little bit about the music scene over in Waterford. We already had a bit of that, an insight to Waterford thanks to Rebecca Cappuccini, but we're going to return back to Waterford again and see if it's still going well over there. We also have our pick of the week, and that is the Clockworks and their song "The Future Is Not What It Was." So yeah, really cool show today. I'm going to lower my music. Yeah, cheers, Rebecca. It's a bit loud, is it? Grand. Lovely. Well, okay, so I'm going to kick in, and I'm going to start off with our first bit of music. Turn that off. And yeah, we're doing the 80s synthwave intro for now. We're gonna change it around once in a while, because the background gets bored. You know, it's just too boring if it's consistent all the whole time. You know. So yeah, our first bit of music is by the awesome Kevin Casey, and yeah, most of you guys know Kevin Casey already. He was on the show before, and we had a lovely chat. You can find that video on YouTube, by the way. And he will be releasing, he's already released a single called It's All Right. I think it was last Friday. And yeah, he's also doing a live stream tomorrow through Indie Buddy's Facebook page. So you can actually catch him live. But this is his song, It's All Right, which was released, it was released on Saturday, I guess. So on the 20th of June.
Somebody tell me what's wrong with the world. Somebody show me the way. Somebody write me some positive words. I just don't know what to say. Somebody show me which road I've been on. I'm going nowhere and I can't see the signs. Somebody stole all that I own, and the riches, they weren't even mine. I'll be alright. I'll be alright. Mama and Pa, they don't listen to me. They tell me that I'm losing my mind. They said that I should go see a doctor, but the truth is I ain't got the time. There's people I know and the walls we to climb. I call each one my best friend. We break the rules, but there's never a crime. That's the reason our fun never ends. I'll be alright. 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 Gonna be alright. I'll be alright. I'll be alright. I'll be alright.
How can I protect you in this crazy world? It's alright. It's alright. I have fallen down so many times. don't know why, I don't know where, I don't care less, it's all the same. I have traveled through so many towns. I don't know why, I don't know where, I don't care less, it's all the same. How can I protect you in this crazy world? It's alright. It's alright. Can you hear the sound of nothing? Nothing. Nothing's right, nothing's wrong. I don't care less, it's all the same. Love is blind, love is clear. Don't you know that love is what you feel? It's alright. It's alright. How can I protect you in this crazy world? It's alright. It's alright. When the talking's over and all the crowd is gone, there's nothing left I can do. Can I get it through to you? It's alright. It's alright. How can I protect you in this crazy world? It's alright. It's alright.
So that was Brian Heavey with his rendition of Crazy World. And just before that, we had Kevin Casey with his most recent release, It's Alright, which, funny enough, I didn't even plan that, but those lyrics were just in Crazy World as well. So that's funny how that all works out, isn't it? In the end. So Dave Duggan, what's the story? Throwing in all the comments as usual. Cheers, buddy, for tuning in, man. And so he did the lyric video for Kevin Casey's It's Alright, so you can find that on Kevin Casey's page. Thanks for letting us know about that, Dave. And great rendition indeed. Absolutely great rendition. So I am going to play one more song for you, and then I'm going to invite Richard on to the show. So this next track is by Pixie Cut Rhythm Orchestra, and they are a Dublin-based indie band. And they've supported Irish acts such as Tandem Felix, Chewing on Tinfoil, and Just Mustard. And they're currently working on their debut album with Anon Records, and that's a Dublin-based collective co-founded by Sarah Deegan, who is the lead singer of the project. So this is their song called Metamorphosis.
In black and white, hush little baby, bedbugs don't bite. She's a woman now, let's set a price. Something is changing in me. some things are not as they seem, and we won't break bread if I don't put it on the table.
And that was Pixie Cut Rhythm Orchestra with their song Metamorphosis. And yeah, great band. I have seen these guys quite a long time ago. Was it 2 years ago? I think it was in Chennai. So yeah, absolutely awesome project. Definitely recommend you guys checking them out. So that was our three picks. We're going to play two more tunes as well at some stage throughout this show. So we got two more pieces of music. Let me get them up for you. So it's going to be Danny Byrne, who released his recent single Summer Songs. We're going to play that, and we're going to play Dirtbird, Shake, Shake, Fail, and that'll be coming up. But right now, I'm going to introduce our first guest to the show. And it's Richard Hernandez, who is the sax player for Vintage Vibes. And we've done a couple of projects together as well. And we're going to chat a little bit about we're going to chat about the music industry a little bit. I think we're going to see what we're in the mood for. We're going to take it nice and casual. He's a student at the New Park Academy of Music. I think he's finished it. I'm not too sure if he was doing. I remember him telling me that he was doing a bit of study as well this year, his final year. So we'll get to hear a little bit about that. And yeah, very interesting dude. So I'm looking forward to this. So please welcome him to our show. Let's see if we can get that audio working. Will we get it? Will we get it? Still connecting. There we go.
There we go.
What's
I
the
am
crack?
connected.
You are connected to us. How are you doing?
Excellent.
Great. I love the background. I'm actually not even surprised you picked like a nice background for yourself.
Oh yeah, just repping the band brand at the moment, as you are as well, with your fucking retro 80s stuff. We're all doing our thing.
I didn't even think about it
And
that
looking
like
cool.
because we've done the Grand Theft Audio together, which is quite.
We did indeed. So this is why this background in particular that you're using is lovely to me. I love it.
Yeah, I wasn't even correlating it with the GTA at all until I was just kind of saying, "Oh yeah, Richard's with us. Richard been doing the sax with us for that project, and it's very GTA like." And I was like, "Wow, I didn't even think about it. I was just listening to a bit of synthwave recently. I don't know, you know yourself, like you just get
As you
into
do, you know, it's 2020. Time to listen to music from 1980. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, man. How's things keeping for you? How's the madness been for the past couple of months for you as a musician and as a person, I guess, as well, most importantly?
It's been a mixed bag. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. Yeah, it's the same for me, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say.
Yeah. It's hard to keep busy as a musician, isn't it? I mean, especially taking away something that we do as a like it's a career for you, right? I mean, you're studying plus the only thing you're bringing bread in with is music.
I was listening to your introduction there. I did just finish my studies in New Park, just there.
Congratulations, man! Great.
Yeah, that doesn't feel like it. It's the weirdest thing.
Yeah, it's madness.
Yeah, so the weird thing about it is that it's a high pressure environment to start off with. You're working basically all the time trying to meet a lot of deadlines as any third level degree is, and then you factor into the fact that you need to be constantly working to build the muscle memory and do all the stuff that you need for like a practical based course like music. And then suddenly the whole world shuts down in the middle of your finals, and you're just like, oh, okay, right. This wasn't expecting this. No.
and what was the subject that you were studying exactly? Like what was sort of in the course for the final year you had to do there?
This is a bachelor's in jazz performance. Okay. You can look it up because we have been last couple of years we moved over to DCU. We've been swallowed by the monster of the north. I hate
when that happens. Yeah,
I hate when a big university comes along and says they're going to build a whole new wing for you in St. Pat's. And,
how dare they? To top it all off.
to top it all off, we have our own rooms that the dirty general populace are not allowed to touch.
Damn.
Ah. No, it's been good. It's been interesting being out there. But yeah,
How did you have practical exams you had to do? Like, was it?
yeah. So see, the weirdest thing about it is that like most of it really kind of brought home the idea that we all kind of knew, is that you need to be in a room with people in order to properly work your music. Like I've seen so much stuff that people are doing online at the moment, doing all the remote gigs and the Zoom recording rehearsals and stuff like that. I'm doing it myself at Vintage Vibes, and I was doing it for a while as well, and like it's great. It's amazing what technology lets you do, but there is a roadblock when you can't just look over to your bass player and be kind of like, that sort of thing, or when you want to do a change, or when you want to say stuff, and latency the latency issues at the very least just make it a whole different ball game, and so much more complicated than it needs to be if you were just in a room with people playing your music together.
And you guys are not meeting physically now, or are you planning to meet physically? Because you have a live gig tomorrow, right?
We do indeed, yeah. The last couple of weeks, since the restrictions have lifted, we've been able to meet up and rehearse together, and we've been doing most of the remote recording and project work that we've been doing at the moment has been with a couple of friends in Concrete Jungle. It's a covers and events band based out in Lanzarote, so give them a shout. They're really good lads and really good musicians, and they're old friends with Lenny and Aoife in the band. So we've been doing a lot of stuff with them, and all the recordings were kind of based around collaborations with them as well. And so the live broadcast that we're going to start doing from now on, they're kind of like they're half and half kind of in association with them as well, because we like the idea just of having our stuff and having our videos being shown in Lanzarote.
How did you get connected with them?
As I said, they go back a long way with a couple of members of the bands that are old friends.
Okay, and they just moved to Lanzarote then at some stage?
No, they've been working out there for the last couple of years. They're pretty well established there.
That's interesting. That's very interesting.
We'd love to finally meet in person and do some gigs together and stuff, and also take a holiday out to the Canaries in the process. That'd be lovely.
Yeah, a bit of sun, like just something that's not the house
for a while, and we're still yeah.
My
gosh, I might actually have a heart attack if I woke up in a different country. It would just be, my body and mind wouldn't take it now. It's like, where are my four walls? I need my four walls.
I know, man. Maybe
and
we're
my
all
garden.
like, what's the opposite to claustrophobia?
Agoraphobia.
Dude, like that. Probably a lot of people are going to develop that now. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if I did.
Well, if you want to talk about the mental aspect of the quarantine, there's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, it's
I wouldn't
madness.
be surprised.
It's madness, yeah. And like, have you been? So when did you finish your course? Literally, what was it, just like a week or two ago? Was it?
Last month.
Last month, okay.
So I've been kind of decompressing out of that for the last month.
That's what I'm thinking, like, because you obviously had to have that high pressure on top of the other obvious global pressure of survivability and uncertainty of the future, and you're doing a course, you're finishing off your finals basically, and then all of a sudden that just kind of a chunk of that sort of disappears. Then, so you must be sort of from what I know about this course, most people have a period of burnout at the end of it. It's kind of a given. Now, what that says about music courses in general is another thing altogether. And we're not the only ones to have that. Like DIT and the Royal Irish Academy are infamous for this as well. Any kind of intensive art course. And it's 3 years, right?
It's actually 4.
Right, that's long enough. Like the BIM would be the same as well, but I never heard BIM to be called intense in as opposed to New Park, which I've heard to be quite. There
seems to be a
intense.
different. There seems to be a different teaching aspect or attitude in BIM, which some parts of which I can definitely appreciate, including this sort of more, I don't know, just kind of like relaxed and permissiveness about it. Like. You can say that this method that is used in like the jazz course and the classical courses and stuff does get results, but it kind of comes at the expense of your physical and mental health sometimes. And yeah, as I was saying, most people when they finish this course, they do kind of burn out. It's kind of a given. So what they do in order to get around the burnout is they stop playing their instrument for a while and they go off and travel for a couple of months. And they do stuff. They get out of the house. They get as far away from the academia and the work side of music as possible, and they just take a month and just go be free.
And you didn't get that opportunity. Fuck.
No, we didn't.
That's so horrible. I mean, yeah, now I understand it. Yeah. And I think music schools seem to be perhaps renowned for that, actually, as a in general. I think perhaps BIM is kind of one of those unique ones, and the rock school, let's say in Ballyfermot, would be also in that level. Not saying that they're any less valuable or they have an amazing, what do you call it, modules and stuff. They have an amazing what's that word? I'm losing words lately. Curriculum, that's the one. But
I have several very good friends and very talented friends who've come through the Ballyfermot Rock School.
Yeah, me too. I've had many musicians I've worked with and close friends who have attended that school, and I missed out on it. I went the journalistic direction, but I would have loved to do that, something like that, because it's a 2-year course. Actually, it's quite short. It's not as intense, but you really do develop yourself as a musician as well, and it's you network as well, which is really important. Do you find like networking is a big thing in New Park? Is it all just musicianship?
Well, curriculum wise, it's all about the musicianship, but all of the kind of the meta stuff around the college is you use this place to build contacts, whether that's with your teachers or with your class or with your wider student body, and whoever you meet up on gigs as well. And like the contacts that you make, even in a scene as small as the Dublin jazz scene, is very important. And I already have a short list of people who I will be contacting over the next year or two if I'm interested in doing a project in Sauce, or if I want advice about X and Y and stuff like that. There's a lot of there are a lot of people who play kind of auteur and weird music, who are used to getting who are used to convincing the government to give them funding, that sort of thing. Great. Little tricks like that, little advice. Like most of the people that you meet there are really open and free with giving advice to people who are coming up, and they're really used to, you're going to be playing your own music as opposed to somebody else's. So they're very used and very encouraged to giving support and advice about just getting yourself out there and playing that weird stuff that you have inside your head.
That's interesting. Yeah, that they support the original music in that way, so it's easy to get a grant.
Well, it wouldn't be a very good jazz course if they didn't do that.
So how does it work with regard to so applying for you're talking about support grants, is this what you're talking about?
Yeah, kind of like Arts Council funding and stuff like that.
Okay. Is it through the Arts Council or is it through a different
there's a couple of different ones, but the one that we were working on at the moment, let me see if I can just
I was looking at one for because I heard the stimulus package, or I don't know if it's even called that, but what was released on Monday in support of the Irish arts was quite questionable. Some people weren't really too sure on its
that's something about the basically a dole payment for musicians, wasn't that what
I think so. There was some other things within that as well that I wasn't too. I'm only recently, I'll admit, I'm only recently sort of understanding the sort of, the assistance that and grants and those other things that have been, that the government or the council can give artists, you know what I mean, in the music realm and beyond. I never really delved into that sort of sector as a sort of musician and manager and whatnot, it's only as of late. So I have read a few things, and there's a couple of options there, but I've also heard people say it's quite difficult to get one of those grants too, right?
Yeah, it can be, but it's certainly doable. I can share my screen actually if you want to see this one.
Yeah, go for it.
So well, you've disabled it, but anyway. It's
here,
okay. You can just go to the artscouncil.ie, and the Music Project Award is the one that we were looking at this year.
Okay.
So this is it supports specific projects in the field of music. Okay. So they focus on things that have kind of like a cultural significance to Ireland.
Oh,
because it
great.
is the
Okay.
Arts Council of Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that you need to be playing trad or anything like that. It's just it can be a music event that supports. We had to come up with kind of dummy ideas this year for a project, and like mine was a weekend long workshop between native Yoruba drumming, so bata drumming. So that's kind of like Yoruba and Igbo peoples of Nigeria.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. That sounds great.
It's awesome stuff. But like you do like a 2-day workshop, members of the public, it's free. So like the thing about this is you get the grant, and then most of the actual event itself is kind of self-funding. Apart from that, like the ticket prices, you can negotiate on that, but it's kind of meant to be for something for the wider public to enjoy, and that's part of the reason you get the funding. So like we'd get like the idea was to get like a ticketed places, maybe like 20 for Friday, 20 for Saturday, and then those people show up and they do the drumming workshop, and then on the Sunday we'd put on a gig with myself and a kind of like a super group of musicians who specialize in sort of maybe like Afrobeats or high life sort of music, the sort of music that kind of like has bata drumming influences in it, but is also kind of like a modern style, more modern style kind of. So that has like funk and Fela Kuti kind of stuff and Tony Allen, that sort of music. So that'd be the thing, and then the ticket holders obviously get free entry or concessions into the gig then, and then a couple of them might come up on stage as well at the end of the night, that sort of thing.
Interesting.
So that'd be the kind of the music projects that they'd be looking for this kind of award, and it's up to 30 grand that they give you, depending on how much funding you receive.
That's
You can
that's
apply.
that's a big chunk of change, man.
Yeah, but again, you got to kind of like itemize it. And, there's a process. It's totally doable, and like the jazz teachers that I've been working with, a lot of them have been given this various grants like this over the years for projects they've been doing. I remember Matt Jacobson got one for kind of like a combination poetry reading and interpretive jazz music kind of thing, but it's kind of like a contemporary kind of thing. So basically combining spoken and written words with which group was it again? It was, I can't remember which group it was, but they kind of like, they have this sort of soundscaping, improvised kind of set, which is kind of like, it's very spacey sometimes. I'll give it that. Like it's great music, but it's also kind of like it's the kind of music that pairs up really well with visual and written word kind of stuff. So like they had basically a showcase of a specific poet, and they based all the songs that they wrote over a rehearsal weekend on her poetry, and then they did a big collaborative gig together. And that was what
great.
they got awarded like something like 11 grand for that, or 15, something like that.
Brilliant. No, that's great. That's amazing. Like that gives a little bit of hope, doesn't it? That there is support out there. But you have to kind of adhere to a few parameters. But they seem quite sensible parameters, right? Like promoting.
If you look at the well, just the music scene in Ireland doesn't even need to be Irish culture.
Well, that's even better, right? That's even better because it's the mix of
like
culture that's important.
My take on it was Irish culture is now multicultural to a certain extent. Like
absolutely.
And one really important group of that is the people that we've gotten from Africa in the last 20 years or so. They brought something much more than just themselves. They brought their music with them, which is an amazing and vibrant music or range of musics that I don't think we appreciate how much we owe to it. You saw like the Blackout Tuesday movement that followed the Black Lives Matter, the most recent Black Lives Matter movement in America, where musicians basically vocalized their recognition of the huge debt that we owe to African American music, or Afro American music in everything that we do, in our pop music, in our rock, in the jazz, in funk.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of Brazilian as well, bossa nova, right? And samba.
Well, that came from West African slavery.
Yeah. So now we're getting
all this music came from the slave trade, which is the
it's
wonderful
crazy,
thing about it.
Yeah, it's crazy that sort of Yeah, that that bittersweet situation.
It's if you were ever going to look at it, I don't know, philosophically, I don't know. And you should, it with the eye from being that even from the most terrible things that we can do to each other, there's something comes out of it that improves the world. Oh, that's a horrible thing to even say, but like,
Oh, I agree with you.
We do terrible things to each other, but we make the best of the terrible things that we do to each other.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, no, that's a very, very good way to look at it. I'm like that as a person, as in I like to look at the little glimmer, even if it's a little faint glimmer of optimistic sort of future, or even if it's present or whatever. But I obviously, with acknowledging the darkness, I think at the same time.
That's what I thought was the most significant part of the blackout movement is that even though we can recognize the huge and amazing contribution that African music has had on the world and cultural development in all of us, in all of our societies today, especially in the West, we do kind of have to look back and realize that the stuff that this very important art form came out of a very painful past that was precipitated on these people by Western civilization.
Yeah.
And it's just something that we need to recognize and remember always. It's not something that we can whitewash out of our past.
No, you're right. No, it happened, and it's, you can't turn back time. You can't do that. So it happened, and that's it. We need to move forward, and
while acknowledging what came before.
While acknowledging, absolutely. This is why I don't like the whole, I didn't want to move into this conversation too much, but like the whole knocking
You're
down.
Talking to me now, politics are going to happen.
Knocking down of statues and stuff. I'm not too sure, like exactly. For me, it doesn't. That's unfortunately doesn't feel like it's an answer. For me, personally.
If you were asked me personally, do I feel like going out and tearing down a statue? Not particularly for myself, but then again, I'm not as angry as these people.
Yeah.
And the people who do that have a lot more reason to be angry than me. And philosophically, again, I can understand why they might want to. For the same reason that I am pretty ambivalent, or even just kind of positively encouraging, not positively. I view positively the fact that Nelson's column, for instance, was blown up in the 60s. I don't miss it, even though I never saw it. But I'd rather not have that in my capital city.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's all part of the process, right? I mean,
especially could you imagine it was a statue of Churchill in Dublin? Like, with that special history that is not really a part of the English school curriculum at all, but we all get to thought about in Ireland, is Churchill's relationship to Ireland.
Yeah, I guess what I'd be more questioning about is, why is it there in the first place? You know what I mean? That's kind of what concerns me more, and that's not something that the people, as us kind of people, not in government or the person who decides these things. I don't know who does. But why these decisions are being made by those people. And I think that's more so my concern, And it's like, are we bringing these people back in, the ones that are not really thinking rationally, as in like, it's the person who's representing the people, right? So he or she should be, on the same level as what the people believe, right? So I don't know. For me, it's just like, I think it's more, this stuff, a lot of this stuff, maybe it needs to happen on the forefront, on the outside, but there's a lot of stuff I believe, just the way I'm believing, by just watching history and understanding, my perception of current politics, that there's a lot of problems embedded deep into sort of the complex political system that we just can't seem to get to, for whatever reason, and it's not just national, it's a global, right?
Yeah.
So because each country will be affected by another. Like, we're quite affected by the States and by England and and the EU, of course. So it's, it's for me, but it's great. I mean, there's a global thing happening. So, I'm wondering what will change.
I'm very excited to see how this affects in future.
Yeah.
What we consider.
Yeah, I hope it does not turn around, and you know, when you push something, it pushes back sometimes twice as hard,
Sure, yeah,
like
yeah.
or pushes back in a different direction. So we feel like we have accomplished something in one direction, but we've lost something in another one. You know, like for example, security over um um security over independence. You know, where if you become more
Sure.
secure, you can lose your independence in that way, and vice
Yeah.
versa. So I'm really curious to see, because it's kind of like that, you know, when something bad happens, something positive might come out of it, and I always feel that there's always some kind of
Something positive
counterbalance.
happens, then there's a reaction from from the other side as well. Yeah, it is, and thankfully history only moves in one direction, so we can observe it as it goes along.
Although it tends to repeat itself, yet we still don't seem to be able to learn from the linear repetition that seems to be occurring.
Well, yeah, you can put that down to our biological limitations. I think we're getting better at that slowly
Yeah.
over time.
I mean, I hope so. I hope so.
It's because think about it. It's very hard to think about things that happened 60 years ago, right?
Yeah,
From
yeah, of
us,
course.
which
Yeah,
was, twice our lifetimes ago.
Mm,
Now, how hard is it to think about stuff that happened 100 years ago, 500, 1,000? You assume that everything is just the same, except people wear different clothes. But no, people's entire outlook was different. How
yeah.
they perceived life, how they thought about life. People didn't even think about the individual as the foundational unit of society until the 1600s.
Hmm.
Before then, it was just your place. You know, it's never about what you wanted. That whole idea was the Enlightenment. But now, like, we look back on the ideas of the Enlightenment, what we see is just like, yes, we discovered the power of the individual, but what the Enlightenment did was it just framed that in terms of one cultural outlook, and that was European. So now what we're doing is we're starting to mix that with all the other, 6 billion people on the planet, apart from the European outlook. That's what we're doing now, and that's surely going to make things more interesting. Hopefully not too much more violent, but definitely bigger in how we look at things. Especially since technology has reflected that. Now we can definitely connect with people who think completely differently and come from
100%.
completely different backgrounds, and we can talk
Yeah.
to them inside as easily as I'm talking to you right now.
With regard to music, what do you think about the industry as it stands now? Because technology obviously has, speaking of technology, right, and it's grown exponentially in the past, whatever, couple of decades, a decade, 5 years,
Yeah.
2 years, 1
Yeah.
year,
Yeah, it's a
and
big
how
thing.
music's being affected. What do you think? Are you optimistic about the direction of music?
I'm still trying to pick myself up off the ground, to be quite honest. I had I've gone from having to turn down gigs because I was too busy to I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing right now.
And what are you doing now? You are focusing on your vintage vibes, right? So that's
Yeah.
coming back now. So that's great. What other
Well,
projects
to be
did you have? Sorry,
yeah.
because
I had I had the stuff with you as well. Like we were
Yeah.
supposed to be doing another Grand Theft Auto series,
yeah,
and
it was
then
last month.
the Motown thing as well.
That was like a couple of days ago.
Yeah, would have been.
I didn't even
Shit.
write a post on the page. I mean, maybe Mina did, but I've been not even I haven't even been motivated to, because everyone kind of
know,
knows. So it's like,
That's the thing, isn't it? Like that's
Yeah.
what hurts the most. That's what hurts or doesn't hurt the most. It's just that suddenly all your goals and all your projects, all the things you were working toward, they're suddenly gone. It's
Yeah.
not the lack of work that hurts. It's the lack of, well, I had so much that I wanted to do, and now I can't do them anymore.
yeah.
Or, just
I mean, you were quite busy until only about a month ago, in fairness, man. So, like, maybe this is like that sort of
to
necessary
be honest,
thing
I've
that
been
you need.
relying a lot on my bandmates to help me
Mm.
through this, just to get me back into the swing of things and get me back with working with music and getting back into just by scheduling rehearsals and telling me to show up.
That's a good start. And
Thanks.
okay, so you are doing the live, and then do you have anything else kind of planned? Because obviously, we don't know how long we're opening up slowly, but then there's some interesting restrictions happening. But we're also speeding up the opening. But we're expecting a possible second wave.
Yeah.
But we don't know if we're going to be.
The encouraging thing is that the live gig that we are doing tomorrow on Saturday, which will be streaming on Facebook on the Dublin Virtual Pub page.
Yeah.
That is being organised by the guy who owns Clonsilla Inn and Black Lion in Dundalkin and a few other places. So he's interested in working with bands in future, definitely. And
I need to get in touch with him. I live right around the corner from the Clonsilla Inn, man.
Yeah, he's a good lad.
It's my local.
No, we have been playing in his venues before the lockdown, and he's still interested in working with us and building sort of like just keeping people interested and finding out new ways to basically keep us all relevant and in people's minds, because I suppose it's kind of the weakness of the industry has been shown now, in that it's always been kind of assumed that you do need to go to a pub for the social angle, and the music is a part of that, so we need to find a way to maximize the effectiveness of that in people's minds, because at the end of the day you can go to Tesco and buy a 6-pack for the price of 2 pints. It needs to be something other than, I'm going to the pub for a pint. It needs to be something like, I'm going to the pub to be entertained now and have a nice night. And so we're finding ways to kind of work together and make that more the thing about the Irish nightlife.
Gotcha.
Or social life.
I agree. And definitely
because that'll also in turn make it easier to turn back that ridiculous legislation on closing all the pubs at 10 or whatever. Yeah. Stuff like that, which is kind of killing the nightlife. Anyway, never mind viruses.
I didn't hear the last little part. You mean closing the pubs earlier, was it? Or
kind of like, I was just saying maximizing that kind of aspect of social life in Ireland and having music and making it less about the drinking anyway.
Totally agree.
Is going to be really important, and I think this is going to give us an opportunity to explore this, because this will help us in the future with turning back all that ridiculous legislation about closing all the pubs at the same time at midnight or earlier. Yes. Stupid stuff that just like kills the nightlife and just turns your city into a city of no crack.
Absolutely, man. And because that works in so many other cities, the late night bars or the bars closing at whatever time they want. In Poland, it's still like that, and it's amazing. I think it's still like that, unless the EU might have restricted, because I haven't been to Poland in a while. Well, 5 years maybe, but it's still in Ireland. It's been quite a while now, right? Or has it been that? Has it been 5 years? Yeah. Maybe it's longer. I don't know. But it's not enough to say we come from a culture with an abusive relationship to alcohol. Fine. But I mean, every nation has that, I think.
A lot of them do. I mean, you mentioned Poland. We do have a similarity there, don't we? I've gone drinking with plenty of Polish people, and we emerged firmer friends for the experience.
Yeah, to say the least.
Every time. There's a shared recognition when you're on your 6th shot of whatever gorgeous stuff they have. Yeah. Oh my
Spiritus.
God. I did not know vodka until I went actually drinking with Polish and Lithuanian people.
Man.
It's amazing.
I know.
I learned so much about how wonderful a spirit it is.
yeah, it's amazing, because they have like shelves, like full-length shelves in the grocery store dedicated to vodka. Just as much on the other side of the shelf, you'll see a full shelf dedicated to pickles. And you wouldn't know that there's so many different variations of pickles.
Another
and
thing,
jars.
You can pickle everything. It's another thing that you can appreciate more as well. Pickled food.
Yeah.
But it's kind of not enough to say that we have an abusive relationship to alcohol. Yeah. It's just not letting ourselves be defined by that anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. And I do agree with the whole music relationship as well with alcohol, and because music generally does happen in bars later in the night, even during the day, but like even daytime gigs and stuff like that, I think it would be a good idea.
Well, that's the way we've allowed it to develop as well, and it's been, kind of like the pub was the social glue in the small community. So that was where you'd have your parties and your social gatherings and stuff, and that's where the guys would bring their instruments. I get it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's fine. That's fine enough. You can still have your sessions in the pub. You can still go to O'Donoghue's of a Sunday, once O'Donoghue's opens of a Sunday again, and have the lads having a session once the lads feel safe, because they're all like 70 plus and you don't want them dying of coronavirus. I am looking forward to going to nights like that again. But yeah, we can obviously you can't force a cultural change. You can just do it and kind of hope that it takes off. But
Well,
like that is a direction that I personally would like to go, and I think the stuff that we're doing online is going to help us with as well.
yeah. One thing and I think so too. I think what really also needs to change is, I guess, the value of the musician and the value of a band, aka
Oh
how much a
hells yeah! Did
musician
you
should get
see
paid.
that? Did you see that Sunday Times poll of the most
Shared
essential
it.
and the most non-essential?
I shared it, and I
I
was
think we
like,
all shared it there.
yeah, I was pretty shocked.
I was
Yeah,
pretty more than shocked. I was pretty four-letter word about
yeah,
it.
yeah. It's
They can go.
ridiculous. Now I'm just trying.
The most ironic thing is, how does the artist who made all the graphics for that feel about it?
Yeah, isn't that funny? But ironic as fuck, man. And the thing is I'm also curious, who did they poll? Like, who are the people? You know what I mean? I'd love to know.
Sunday Times readers.
Sunday Times readers. Well, there you go. I mean, that might say a bit about the actual newspaper itself.
I'm saying nothing.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. So I don't know. But I really do hope that it did make me question, because I was like, okay, obviously not everybody thinks like this. And
No,
it's not
1,000 people thought this way.
Yeah, exactly. But it was interesting, the fact that they decided to, I mean, they just, I don't know. It's just interesting that came out, and I was. It really made me think. It really made me think, and in a good way. Honestly, it was actually a good thing that happened. I'm very happy that did happen, because then I wouldn't have been as sort of, I wouldn't have taken the action that I'm taking now. Let's say.
Really? Okay.
So I'm taking some action towards that. So that's why I think it's good, to hear that sort of truth, even though it might necessarily be what everybody thinks, but it might be what a large proportion of people that are perhaps reading certain types of media, right? So that can also go on how the algorithms of online works, how Google and YouTube decide what you watch, paints that picture. But there's definitely a picture painted about the people that read the Sunday Times, and it could be the same perception that people think of when reading other stuff online, let's say, so that made me think about that too. And I said, well, what better way to then just spread music even more, spread it more and show its value more, so it reaches those crevices, aka those 1,000 people that are writing those polls. It might just be might just have a perception that's just a little bit skewed. It's not necessarily, I don't hate these people, obviously, but they just might have a different perception,
Yeah. They do.
You're still trying to get over that one, right?
Well, no, it's just like, it's been one of the things that I've been mulling over in my head over the past 6 weeks, has been basically just how much do I value myself, and how much the work that I do. It's something that I have to struggle with myself personally, internally, sort of, because I did pick a weird career that isn't your normal 9 to 5, and it is tough sometimes to get that to get recognition, even though you don't necessarily need it as an artist, but you still need it as an artist, because on the one hand, you are doing everything for yourself. You're doing everything for this vision that you have, this perspective that you have, that you feel like sharing, which is whether you paint a picture of it or you write a song about it. That's what you're doing. You're sharing your view on the world, or a very specific part of the world. So it's all about sharing, but it's also all about, it is all about yourself as well. It's this very weird, art is this very, very weird thing, which is why I think people find it very, very hard to recognize the person who's doing it. Because it doesn't seem to be something that you can just easily pigeonhole, be kind of like, okay, that's that sector right there, and that's what you're doing for the economy.
It's not it's not tangible almost.
Yeah, because we are kind of living in a system that ties a certain amount of a person's value to the job they do, and in order for that system to work, that job description needs to fit on a jobs.ie page. Succinctly, it needs to read almost like an ad.
Sure.
This is what I do.
Data analyst required for a multinational firm.
Yeah, this is how I contribute to society, basically. The artists, you can't really do that, because it's a little bit existential, it's a little bit weird, and it's always going to be like that. It's always going to resist a definition like that. and that's
Yeah.
why people find it difficult, I think. And that's why I find it difficult sometimes, because there's a part of myself that still thinks, well, you know, when are you going to give this up and go back to real work?
Don't say that. Don't even joke about that. No, man.
It's
I'm not going to let you do that.
I'm only repeating what the awful little voice inside my head keeps telling
Stop.
me every now and again.
Stop. Well, sometimes it's good to have that, to kind of just be able to sort of then kind of push yourself forward, or test your own sort of strength as well. I mean, I don't know. I have such admiration for musicians. For me, for music, even outside of me.
So you
as a
have such
musician.
admiration for yourself, then, yeah.
I wouldn't see myself as a musician. Like I'm a drummer, man. Like I don't know. Like
Here, stop that. I'm not
I
a drummer, not
sorry,
a
no,
musician.
no, I didn't mean it like that. But I mean, like I'm a drummer because I started drumming, but then I really enjoyed the organizational part of things, more. And I love drums as a tool for me to be happy and express myself, and a part of myself that's one side of myself. Like it's a parameter within myself that needs to be adhered to is satisfied by the drums. But then there is something that I really, really love, is like organizing things and bringing people together and making a big thing out of a group of people. And that's where my real, where like there's passion. I wouldn't say there's passion with my drumming. That's what I'm trying to say. I love it. I love it to bits, and I'll probably play it to the end of my days. But there's definitely bigger passions out there. Like I don't play drums you know what I mean? I don't commit to the instrument enough to call it a passion. I'm not gonna lie. But I commit to other types of work every day that I wouldn't miss, and I'd feel sick to my stomach if I didn't do a little bit of it per day, which is trying to make a business grow.
Yeah, I see what you mean there. But I can definitely see. I think I can definitely see the connection there, though, because what is the drummer apart from kind of like the organizational center of a band? Like, where does this come from?
Yeah, of course.
Who's doing that most of the time? It's the drummer, and then to a lesser extent the bassist.
There's surely a link, and perhaps I needed to go through the drums to sort of. Yeah. I wasn't ready to start a business back then, so maybe the drums were keeping me going.
From my armchair psychiatrist position, that seems like it makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah.
I'm going to write a paper about you.
The great thing is though that I do appreciate the musician more, because, as you say, I am one. You know what I mean? But I appreciate musicians that put in really hard work that I don't do as a musician. Well, I do for for projects. Yeah, of course. If there's projects that I need to do, but I'm still not studying 4 years like you know what I mean, in New Park, or practicing my craft every day, even though, you might have taken a break now or whatever you were saying. But like still, like, do you know what I mean? Like I understand the commitment. Like my dad plays the double bass. So
yes,
in the orchestra,
and you cannot be a good orchestral double bassist without being ridiculoly.
He plays every day. Like there's no day he doesn't play.
You have to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, your technique falls apart, your intonation, that sort of thing. For those fretless stringed instruments, it's a nightmare. Like you need to be at it every day. You've seen the calluses on his hands, right? It's almost like
I think it's all just like you don't see anything anywhere. It's just like it's just the whole hand is a callus. Like
he's got fingers growing out of his fingers.
Yeah, you just don't notice that it all blended in. But I always thought that brass and like sax, I thought that was an extremely complex instrument. Extremely, but I was for my brain to comprehend this sort of.
I think all instruments have their own special challenges, and I think the allure of a saxophone in particular is that it lets you get away with a lot. Even when you fail at the saxophone, you fail in a way that most people are kind of like, that's okay. Whereas actually with brass, when you fail at that, people all go, what the hell is that noise? Please, please, please get him away from me right now.
Oh God. So how do you do? Are you okay practicing at home and stuff? Like, is that?
Yeah, well, I was blessed for so many years because I lived next door to a concert cellist. So she never minded when I practiced at home.
Okay.
I'm more careful about it now because she's finally moved out and there's a young family living next door. But I am working around it. I basically keep it to sociable hours when I do practice now, which is not too often. I heard recently, they did tell me, my neighbours, is that I occasionally get a mention on the housing estates WhatsApp group. It's always in a positive way, though. Although I think I did push it a little bit when I went out at 9 a.m. one morning and started just like playing for the birds. And yeah, I think I heard somebody mumbling something vaguely threatening in their back garden, so I turned it down a bit.
That's like, somebody doing construction work, at 9 a.m. or whatever. But it's not obviously it's not bad, but some people might construe it that way, right?
Well, I was starting to push it a little bit, and I was kind of like, okay, this is starting to get a little bit loud, and there's literally 100 people around me right now, so probably should just turn it down a little.
Well, drummers are worse. I was I was a pretty horrible young drummer, like a young reckless teenage drummer. So my poor neighbors had to suffer and endure through that. So I'm sure yours isn't as horrible, or you aren't as horrible.
You'd be surprised.
There's something hidden in there, Richard. Is there a little bit of
it's a forgiving instrument, but it's a forgiving instrument, but it's forgiving in a way that allows you to sound like absolute shit for ages and not really care about it.
Yeah, but the drums are the same. I would say the drums are the same until you get that sort of timbre, and I think that's a very thing that you do omit at the beginning of
your sound and your intonation and just sounding right.
Yeah, sounding right. And it's amazing because it's it requires like a pullback, and a bit of conscious awareness about what you're doing, and you don't get that at the start really, because you can't, because you're learning like a whole fuckload of new stuff.
You're learning how to keep time, and you're learning how to play a note, and you're learning how to play a backbeat or whatever, and you're learning how to play a backbeat kind of like, but you've got no subtlety in your technique, so everything is like dang, dang, dang. Like, okay, that sounds about right, and I'm doing the thing where I'm just kind of like, that sounds about right as well. It doesn't sound like that guy does, but sounds like something.
Yeah, exactly. Richard, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you, brother. I wish we could chat more. Unfortunately, I've got to run a timely show and
places to go, people
to see. I'm a man about town. Not really.
Thank you so much for having me on it. This is fun.
My pleasure, man. I'd love to have you again, actually, and just have more chats, because I think there's a lot of stuff we could cover. Perhaps we could do another one, actually, and maybe perhaps discuss a particular part of the music industry or something like that. Maybe if you said you have a bit more time now, and maybe it'd be nice to have a little segment or something like that.
Sure, that sounds fun.
Deadly, brother.
It does. I'm easy too.
Sure. Maybe.
I'm gonna have to be open about my opinions.
Which is so hard to do for you, isn't it?
I love keeping my cards close to the chest, in case you haven't noticed.
I think that's why it's good to talk to you, because it's just like, it's genuine, it's legit,
Occasionally, you'll just hear me saying something, mumbling something about eating the rich under my breath.
This is great. This is what perhaps we need to hear right now, What was I going to say? Is there anything you'd like to mention? So just to reaffirm what's going on with Vintage Vibes and any other projects you're doing, man, please let the listeners know what's going on next, please.
So,
please.
Vintage Vibes is my events and entertainment band. Well, mine and 5 of my best friends. Mm-hmm. So we are doing a live showcase on the Virtual Irish Pub page on Saturday. I think that's happening around 7 p.m, but you can go to our page or the Virtual Pub page for more details. In terms of my own work, my own personal kind of stuff, I'm starting to write a little bit more, starting to get the hang of, DAWs and stuff like that. So
Deadly.
I have a number of little projects, some of which I will be working on with Johnny, that's the bass player and super guitarist out of Vintage Vibes. Mm-hmm. And we're going to start working on stuff together, something with a slightly fun kind of bent, and that'll be nice.
Great.
And he's also the featured guitarist on that track I sent you as well.
Fantastic, great. I didn't even get it. Okay, I'm going to play it today. I forgot to actually listen to it. Yeah, horrible me. So apologies. We've been really busy in the deMars camp lately, so I omitted that. So what I'm going to do is, anyway, that track is going to be put up, if with your allowance. I didn't even ask you.
Oh, of course,
on the website. Did I mention that we're putting up tracks on a website?
Excellent.
So that'll go up there with your info and stuff like that, and I'm going to have a listen to it. I'm going to play it today because we only have 2 guests today, actually.
Great.
So but Richard, listen, absolute pleasure, brother, and we'll talk outside of this anyway, because there's a few things I have to tell you as well, a couple of surprises for you.
Hey.
I know you like surprises, so
I do.
Awesome, brother. Listen, take it easy, and we'll chat to you very soon.
All right, take it easy, Dave.
All right, guys, that was Richard Hernandez, and we had a lovely chat there. All things music, got a little bit political for a little bit, and that's great. We just wanted to be an open book, and Richard's really smart guy, really intelligent guy, and a great musician, and all around awesome dude. So we were actually catching up there as well. We haven't talked in quite a while, so it was nice to catch up as well. I'm gonna play one of his tracks, but I don't want to keep our next guest waiting because we were a little bit over time there. So I'm going to bring on our next guest. I don't want to be a rude host, of course. So thanks, guys, for tuning in. By the way, do share the stream. We are talking all things music and anything in between today. And we just had Richard Hernandez there from the Vintage Vibes band, which you can check out, Vintage Vibes, on Facebook, and they're going to be doing a live stream tomorrow on the I think it's called the Dublin Pub, something like that page. I'm a member of it. I can't remember the name of it now, but Vintage Vibes is what you're looking out for, and he's got some cool things coming up as well. So my next guest is called Cal Pacino, and he's a Waterford-based singer-songwriter. He's performed with Robert Glasper, Alex Goch, and Toucan. His style has been described as lyrically bold, jazzy, and strikingly unique. He released his first single last year and recently released his second single, Bop With You, which we had on the show not too long ago. Please welcome Cal Pacino. Hello. Let's see if we can get your audio. That'll take a couple of seconds. There
Yes.
we go. What's the story, man? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Listen, thanks for the patience. I do apologize for being a little bit late there.
Absolutely no worries at all. No panic.
It's funny. It's like a game of catch up sometimes with people, because you'd have. Oh, and he's
Yeah.
off.
No, it's cool. I was just closing the door.
No worries, yeah, because there'd be people you're not in touch with, and then sometimes you use this as well to just catch up with people. But I'm also getting to know people as well, which is amazing. So I'm catching up with old friends, musicians, and then getting to know
cool.
new people like yourself. So how's things, man? How are you keeping?
Good, all good, man. Just chilling down here in Waterford. It's a nice sunny day. It started off kind of rainy when I was leaving the house, but it's after getting really nice now, so I'm liking
Has
it.
it gotten nice for you? Let's see how it is outside for me. Mine's it's not entirely grey, but it's quite cloudy. But yeah, no, it's nice. We're not getting horrible weather, at least in the middle of summer. But we had a crazy weird warm May, which is and April. I mean, and maybe it was
Yeah.
a blessing, right, during these kind of crazy times to get a
were,
little bit nice
yeah.
weather.
Yeah, it was a blessing. It was really nice. It was
Yeah.
mad.
Yeah.
We
So
had some really good weather.
what did you get up to? Were you just playing the guitar, chilling out in the back garden, things like that, or what have you been up to kind of over the past couple of quarantine months? I suppose it's been 3 months now, hasn't it? It's crazy.
Yeah. I've been working a good bit. Yeah, it's been a long time. Like, I mean, I've been trying to make the most of my time, adapting to not being able to do gigs anymore. Kind of have to come up with new stuff to do. So I've been working away, composing my own music here at home, sharing those ideas maybe just over WhatsApp or Facebook with a group of friends, getting together, creating some new music, getting in touch with producers and just kind of seeing what avenues I can explore without being able to travel that far, with the travel restrictions in place. Who can I still get in touch with,
Yeah, great.
I mean, there's been lots of good things happen since the lockdown. I mean, I've been on some live stream gigs and stuff. I never did that. It's a new world, so it's an exciting new world. Really, we're getting to experience some live stream gigs, stepping out of our comfort zone, doing new things that we've never done. Really, jamming over, over Zoom and the likes, and over video calls, FaceTime, getting ideas down.
Yeah, Absolutely, man. Yeah, this is one thing that's definitely new for me too. Is the live streaming situation and talking in front of a camera, using a microphone, and
Yeah.
and projecting out to viewers, or having conversations with people while there's people watching, which for me was a great training ground, and I probably wouldn't have done it had it not been for the quarantine. So it's interesting, isn't it, the way something, and Richard earlier on was talking about how something bad, there is always, well, we'll hopefully this is the case. At least something small good can come out of even the most atrocious of situations, right?
True.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's great. So you believe it too. So that's I guess, yeah. I guess that's what kind of keeps us going, I guess, as humans, right? Even no matter how much horrible things happened and have happened in history and all that, something good might have come out of it to keep us going as a sort of, as a humanity even, right?
Yeah, for sure, man. Definitely. We're all, we're all forced to explore new avenues and experience new things, as you said. Adaptability comes into it. How much can we adapt to this new environment that we're moving into,
Mm.
this new kind of way of doing things.
Mm-hmm.
It's uncharted territory. So it's a bit scary for everyone. It's a
Mm.
bit new, but I think we're rising to the challenge. Really, I think
Mm.
we're. I've seen a lot of togetherness, a lot of kind of
Mm.
people sticking up for each other and stuff like that. More so than I've seen, uh, people losing or not handling it that well. I think we're handling it pretty well.
For sure, absolutely. And how has the creativity been for you lately? You said you share some things with people in WhatsApp groups, and you're kind of sharing music and doing some live streaming. But how has the music creation part been for you actually over the past couple of months?
Yeah, that's a good question. I've been mostly working on music that was already composed.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe my catalog of the last 5 years
Mm-hmm.
of songs, bits and bobs, parts of songs that I had written,
Mm-hmm.
and now bringing them to fruition with a full band or bigger ensemble.
Mm.
Um, so there's been a lot of that. In terms of new material, I have been, I suppose, just keeping up practice with my instruments, piano and guitar, and just kind of trying to work on those a little bit. When I come up with a new technique, generally, I'll try to create a new sort of song or idea at least out of that. If
Mm-hmm.
I'm just messing around on piano, so I've started maybe two or three new songs. Been kind of exploring more hip hop, writing a bit of that, sort of practicing that avenue a little bit more than I would have kind of had time for before
Mm-hmm.
all the lockdown. Now we
Mm.
really got just time is seemingly infinite. So
Yeah,
there's enough to keep me occupied. Different bits and bobs. So creativity has been quite strong, really.
that's great.
I've been trying my best to keep it that way.
Yeah, awesome. And I was reading somewhere that, like, Bop with you, like you wrote the instrumentation. Was it like that was like 3 years ago you wrote? Is that correct, or did I misread that? And then you
Yeah,
wrote the
no, yeah,
rap.
that's true.
Then recently was just last year, right? So it was kind of like it
Mm,
came together. When did you? Because that's your most recent release, and we played that actually on the show. When
nice.
Rebecca Cappuccini came on to sort of expose a bit of Waterford talent, which was great because we got to know a little bit about yourself and some other projects that are out in Waterford. But with regard to Bop with you, because it's interesting, because it wouldn't be the first time I've kind of heard musicians sort of um, you'd have stuff written in the archive somewhere, and then all of a sudden you get inspired by something, and you're like, oh, these two fit together.
Yeah.
How did that creative process work for you actually with Bop with you? Because that's I personally I thought that song was actually fantastic. By the way, I
Thank
really
you.
enjoyed that. And I also like that little bit of the rapping as well, the kind of combination of that sort of jazzy vibe with that kind of hip hoppy vibe. For me
Thank you.
was quite unique actually, especially in the Irish music scene. But anyway, with regard to the creative process, I'd be really curious to sort of know how those two things came together 3 years apart or 2 years apart. I think in your case.
Yeah, for sure. I remember describing that. I wrote it just really as the chords and melody, the first part that you hear when you listen to it. And I come up with ideas for songs, and sometimes I don't have much faith in them. I kind of just hear them and I might leave them there. but they may actually be worth doing something with later down the line. You know, I'm indecisive sometimes with my work. I don't know what's going to fit with what, so I have a lot of pieces that I'm sort of jumbling up, and things that are happening at the start. I might want to see what it sounds like at the end, or you know, mixing and matching with a lot of different ideas and gluing song ideas together. So I was actually watching that. I think it was um, maybe last October or November, just gone. There was that series on Netflix, Rhythm and Flow. Did you catch that?
No, no, actually.
Rhythm and Flow. It's really good. It's like a rap, almost, you know, like one of those singing competitions, but instead it's who can be the best rapper.
Okay.
And the one who won it was D Smoke. So I was listening to a lot of D Smoke. He really inspired me. At that time, I was listening to, I was kind of getting in on that sound, and I was kind of writing. Obviously, I'm not gonna sound exactly like him. It's a different dialect and stuff. It's a different environment, so I can only speak from where I'm coming from. But where I wrote the rap then towards the end, I was kind of listening to a lot of that sound. I just wrote it to like a YouTube hip hop beat that you would find, and I had it on the page. Then I was listening to Bop with You the next day, and I guess there was just a sort of a light bulb moment where the light went on. I said maybe these two things could get glued together. I could do the rap that I had written to the chords of my other song.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and it's something I experimented with. I'm not sure am I going to go down the avenue again of starting with singing and then having a rap at the end, because maybe they don't know that the rap is coming. So
Right.
in future releases, I may sort of make it more obvious.
I got
But
you.
it holds its own charm in that it's unique in that the rap comes in at the end. You know,
Yeah.
you seem to enjoy. You know, people seem to have enjoyed it. I got good feedback on it, so I'm happy with that. But I like playing with song forms like that. You know, I might have another one come out down the line that starts with a rap and then maybe opens out into a more melodic song. You know, just playing with the forms and things like that.
Yeah, yeah, it's great. Do you have sort of an idea of any upcoming sort of releases now? Are you kind of happy with certain structures within songs to sort of go, oh, I think I might record this next, or are you still kind of, obviously it's a hard time to kind of make it, you know, it's a hard time for, or can be a hard time for anybody during this quarantine and all that jazz, so maybe it's hard to plan for the future, right? Because we're kind of living day by day or week by week. But do you have any kind of songs?
That's it. We're kind of just taking it like, you know, however it's gonna go. Like we don't know how it's gonna go.
Yeah.
I'm looking to, you know, I'm doing as much demo home recording as I can. Just between me and the lads, new band that I formed. So there's the six of us. I'll be recording. You know, it's also a kind of the decision of what you're gonna record. You know, when you're gonna distribute what. You know, is it gonna be a single? Is it gonna be an EP?
Yeah.
I have quite a lot of songs there, but I wouldn't consider any of them fully at the level of finished yet. They're all still in the writing process, because I kind of want them to be a bit of a bigger production, a bit of a step up from Bop With You, you know. So when I put out something next, it'll have a bigger sound, because it'll be a bigger ensemble. So there's just a lot of work going into the different songs right now, and they're all kind of, it's like they're in a race, you know. One could be about 60% finished and the other one could be like 40% finished, but we could just spend the whole day working on that one, and then that one takes its place as being the next closest to being finished, you know?
I get you. Yeah, that's actually very interesting way to put it. It hasn't been put like that before from my past interviews. Things like, you know, people writing musicians or artists writing in the past and then it coming back, or artists being nostalgic writers where they wouldn't be able to write about the quarantine now, but in a year's time they might be able to reflect back on the quarantine. So there was different like creative processes, which always fascinated me. For me as a project sort of creator and curator as well, I would have perhaps similar approach to yourself, where I would have, you know, this much of a project finished, or it's operational, but it's the client base has not been established yet. You know, I'd be doing like cover projects or corporate gigs and things like that. So it's a little bit more, you know, trying to find also the extra step of trying to find the client or trying to pull the client to you, as opposed to trying to get, media attention or however, although I'm still trying to do that as well. But how are you finding it over in, because I'm in Dublin, right? So for me, gigs, there's a certain music scene here, and we delved into a little bit of the Waterford music scene with Rebecca, and I just wanted to know your take, I guess, what it's like in Waterford as a musician, and do you have anything to sort of tell us ignorant Dublin people about what it's like in cities or in towns like in Waterford City, right? It's a city. Yeah, I don't know what you're saying.
Yeah, Waterford City. Yeah, it's nice. It's much smaller, so it's a smaller community. It's quite a small circuit. We all know each other. We all kind of a lot of you play in each other's bands. We play. I'm practicing with I have the drummer of my band. I'm getting him playing all sort of soft, sort of jazzy hip hop, kind of cross stick sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And his other band is like a really heavy rock band, like really kind of indie punk sort of. Rebecca loves them as well. 7 Levels, really good.
Oh yeah, we played them as well. Yeah, great band. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we're actually sharing members. The drummer is the drummer and guitarist are both now also in my band. So it's a nice kind of collective there. There's a lot of different, and the pianist is also the pianist of my old band, Backroad Smokers Club. They're a really good Waterford band also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We've got a good original scene. A lot of people bringing out music, doing their thing. In all genres, all walks of life. There's a lot of dance music. They love dance music down here.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really have the venues, I don't think. I mean, we have a few cool spots that are good, a few beer gardens and stuff like that, but there's not really enough of a selection. Like, I mean, we don't have the dream venues. There was a few really good places years ago when I was growing up, but they change hands. Places change up a lot. There hasn't been like a consistent venue where you're like really like, this is the music venue. There's the Ishkabah, that's pretty good. They have music 7 nights a week. That's just down the end of the quay. That's a really cool place. You never know what you get in there. Other than that, there's not like music bar. Say up in Dublin. Dublin is my birthplace, so I would have spent a lot of time in Dublin growing up. Like, so
okay.
I see the distinct differences between the two cities.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, major difference. Like up in Dublin, you have your rock bar. You're gonna go there. You're gonna hear some heavy rock, like, and everyone's kind of on that vibe. And then you go to maybe I went to a place, the Mez in
in Temple Bar. Yeah,
they had the hip hop, they had the rap battles. So if you're into the hip hop scene, then you go to there's a place for you to go, and maybe jazz, and there's that Arthur's Jazz and Blues. You got all your different scenes.
Thomas Street, yeah.
Here it's a bit of a mishmash. We're kind of I play jazzy stuff. I do hip hop. I do kind of niche genres, I guess.
Yeah.
Down here they'd be considered. So it's kind of like there's not like a jazz joint down here, and there's not like a hip hop kind of like venue really. I did a hip hop gig in Grady's Yard. I did one in Factory. Like they have been good. The best one I think was Jeff's. Jeff's is really good. They have a beer garden out there. Have you ever been to Waterford?
No, I don't think so. Maybe. Yeah, no, I think I have been, briefly, but this would have been a few years ago. So I might know it to recognize if I seen it, but no, the bars and things like that, I wouldn't know now off the top of my head. I have to go now.
Jeff's is a pretty cool spot. You should come down. That's pretty cool down here, like. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like I've been wanting to get up to Dublin, like, for a look around, but really it's lockdown up there too. It's not like, I'm kind of imagining like, I want to get out of like lockdown Waterford because all the streets are locked down and everywhere is closed, and it's all sad here. I'd love to go up to somewhere vibrant, but I mean, it's just the exact same up there right now too, isn't it? Like, yeah,
pretty much. I mean, now I guess it's slowly opening up. And I think the pubs are going to be open now, I think on the 29th of June or something. Am I mistaken on that? Maybe the viewers might know.
Okay, cool.
Now, the thing is it's interesting how they're kind of reopening everything. And perhaps, some people are kind of like laughing about it. And there's a lot of, jokes going around because they're saying, it's table service. There's no live music. You have to be there for 90 minutes max, or at least, I don't know. And you need to eat food. You need to order a meal. You need to do this. So there's a load of stipulations involved with going to a pub. And there's no live music. So it's like, well, what's the point? You know what I mean? I mean, you maybe do it as a novelty, but if there's no live music, I don't think I'm gonna go to a pub. Why do I go to a bar? Personally, I go to see live music. For me, I thrive on that stuff. So I don't know how long it'll take. I've been doing the live streaming now as well myself, so I think that's kind of what's going to be happening. You said you were delving into a bit of live streaming yourself.
Yeah, I've got on a few live streams. What was I on? It was actually Benny Diction, an English rapper who I met in Jeff's in Waterford when I was doing a hip hop gig. He was kind of hosting. He does sort of poetry and hip hop. People that have an interest in that spoken word and stuff like that over in England. So he messaged me, see did I want to get involved. So I did a piece on there. That was really nice. Great. So I got in touch with a few English artists through that, the other people that were on, I got to see them on the live stream. Probably stuff I wouldn't have really seen otherwise, unless I was over there. Like I wouldn't have really discovered them. Like, so it is nice in that sense.
Yeah.
That's what I'd be on. I was on another Waterford band, Bankrupt Music, were hosting their they had an Instagram thing on. Who else have I been on? I've been on my own. I just put on maybe on my own Instagram live and play a few songs. I've been trying to get on there be like Sway in the Morning over in America. He has his live stream and he's just letting people come on and rap, and a few famous English rappers are doing that as well. Just in the live streams, they're just having people on, so I'm liking that. I haven't been on any of those yet, but what else have I been on? I feel like there's been more. I've just been doing a few on mine, on my Facebook Live and my Instagram Live and stuff like that.
Awesome.
I've been looking for a few more and stuff as well, like seeing what kind of avenues I can explore. But really, I'm just looking forward to playing live music again. Live stream is fun, but it's kind of really the gigging is what it's all about. Like, the energy with the people, you get the community together. Like, that's what it's all about, like, isn't it?
100% giving and taking energy and interacting with people in multiple ways and moving people emotionally. I mean, it's very hard to do that through a screen. For sure, and to give people chills, as well. Those kind of things, like that you'd get at a gig when you're watching your own favorite artist that you do. I was just speaking of gigging and speaking of live stream. Actually, it just reminded me. Do you want to play a couple of songs? You mentioned that you'd be up for it. Would you like to play a tune now? Actually,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I have a guitar behind me there.
Deadly, ready to go.
Guitar over there. Yeah, I can play a song for you if you want. Yeah,
I'd love to. Yeah, I'll give you take your time. I'll give you the floor, and and we can have a chat afterwards as well. But you can set up a tunage there. And guys at home, actually, just to let you know, I'm chatting with Cal Pacino here, Waterford-based singer-songwriter. And if you have any questions for us, please.
Water-based.
I was about to say water-based. Yeah.
That's all good.
Do let us know if you have any questions, guys. And Lindsay, thanks for tuning in. I see you there. I actually only checked the YouTube comments there, so just missed out. But thanks for your input there. Nice one. Appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. So Cal Pacino, I'm going to give you the floor, brother. And here we go. Let's see if I can do this.
Thank you very much for the introduction. This is a song called "The World Needs More People Like You." This is my first release. So for anybody that doesn't know me, I may as well play it for them. I brought this out last October. I don't know, maybe it was earlier than that. I think it was last September. The world needs more people like you. I have a feeling, and I feel it's quite true. I think the people of the world need more people like you. I could be wrong, but I can see it's quite true. I think the world needs more people like you. You know I tell the truth and all. So how could I not keep saying you're beautiful? But you only F with fellas that are 2 foot taller than you. But I do not care as I watch you undo your hair, looking over with the cutest stare I've seen in my life. I have a feeling that I feel is quite true. I think the people of the world need more people like you. I could be wrong, but I can see it's quite true. I think the world needs more people like you. You know I keeps it real and but I only keeps it going if you're feeling that. And if not, I guess I'll need some practice at this. Spin the needle back. Yeah. Do everything to the wayside for that waistline. No coming down, but we stay high. Gaze eye to them glazed eyes, mesmerized since the day I said I love her all of the time. Longing to press rewind on the seconds that have gone by since I got this feeling that I feel is quite true. I think the people of the world need more people like you. I could be wrong, but I can see it's quite true. I think the world needs more people like you. You know I beat it up with you, that I find it very easy to adjust to you. And whether or not you feel the same way, I still dug you, and I dig you, and I love you, and I will do for a long time, long time. Oh, but you know little too much about what I do, and you could get me in trouble. Oh, but it's worth all the risk for a smirk and a kiss, and the burn that exists can't be extinguished. No, no, I have a feeling and I feel that it's quite true. I think the people of the world need more people like you. I could be wrong, but I can see it's quite true. I think the world needs more people like you. Think the world needs more people like you.
Awesome, awesome, brother. And that's your very first track you released, wasn't it? That was last year
Yeah, that's
in
correct. That was my first
in
release.
August. You were yeah, all really nice track, man. Really beautiful. Do you want
Thank
to?
you very
Would you like to
much.
play another one, or are you sick of playing already?
Yeah, no, absolutely no. Never,
Awesome,
never sick of playing.
love it.
Yeah, I'll give another play. Yeah, sure. Why don't I whack out Bop with you?
Yeah, love that. Nice acoustic version.
Right,
That's great.
check the tuning on this. Okay. Okay. Thinking about you and all the things you say you like to do to me. Got me waiting patient for the perfect opportunity to say, I wish I was doing them too. Got me up here all night thinking about you and all the hopes you give me for a brighter day. Jump up in that rocket ship and ride away. Oh, I wish I was bopping with you. Yeah. Who the thoughts I think of when you give me my medicine? Yeah, I see some land up ahead, and he wants you as their president. So I take a deep breath of it in, hoping it'll last. I close my eyes and tell myself the miracles can happen. I just know they can. Yeah, well, I just know they can. So let's take this opportunity to bop us too. You can show me all about you, sure know how to do. Got me learning quickly, I want all of you. And it seems like you want some of me. So let's take this opportunity to bop us too. You can tell a taxi where to drop us to. When we get inside, there ain't no stopping you. Oh, I'm so glad that I'm bopping with you. Yeah. Oh, the thoughts I think of when you give me my medicine. Yeah, I see some land up ahead, and they want you as their president. So I take a deep breath of it in, hoping it'll last. I close my eyes and tell myself that I was hoping I could build a house with you, cause you know I got a style that can fit you. No mistaking that vibe when it hits you. No one ever even seen you, but I missed you. Remember we would rave till Sunday. I was hoping we could get away someplace. Maybe plan it for a month, let it run late. Instead of staying here feeling unsafe. I haven't even started having fun yet. Well, I have started, but I'm not done yet. I see our silhouette in the sunset. Makes me wonder what's our story, has it begun yet? But what's your buzz? I'll be your friend yet. You sure know my buzz, cause I have 10 left. You know better than to let this end yet. Impact on my chest is like a bench press. You make me bum smokes for you to exhale. I look up, make jokes about chemtrails. I make up spaceship. You say let's sail, but eco plant-based fuel is so good for the airspace. Yeah, that actually does sound fresh, 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 fresh. And I see some land up ahead, and they want you as their president. So I take a deep breath of it in, hoping it'll last. I close my eyes and tell myself the miracles can happen. I just know they can. Yeah, I just know they can.
Awesome, brother. Nice one.
Thank you, my friend.
It's great. It's a lovely vibe, you know. And especially acoustically, but you hear one vibe obviously when you record it and it's in the production, or sorry, in the studio and things like that. But you can still sense that sort of same vibe when you're doing it acoustically too. It's quite nice. I'm getting sort of like feeling like I'm in the States or something. I don't know why. Do you know that? And I don't know what that means to me. Just when I was kind of just listening to it, and then the rap comes in, and then you're reminded, oh, I'm in Ireland. You know what I mean? So it's a nice mix, actually. I have to say, personally, it's my personal sort of perception, I guess.
Yeah, too right.
Very awesome, man.
Thank you very much.
I'm looking forward to the next tunes, man. I really am. And it's an absolute. I'm delighted that Rebecca introduced me to you. Because it's just lovely listening to just the amazing variation that is within Ireland, you know, and I was quite confined to Dublin, you know, for just because of radius, you know, that was basically it, you know, and
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
But it's amazing how eclectic is the Irish music scene, and you know, international people, like they you know, not everybody, but there I'm sure there is, and I've from going abroad, I've seen, you know, I've heard, you know, oh, they just know, you know, Cranberries, U2, Enya, and you know, a couple of others, you know, and then they think everything else is just like Celtic music or, you know, trad, and they don't think that there's anything else. Yeah, but you know, rightly so to an extent. Like, I understand it, you know. Perhaps there needs to be a change in the music industry here. I personally think so, because I don't think that there's enough support systems, perhaps, for Irish musicians, for musicians living here, whether they be Irish or not. It doesn't really matter, but musicians living here. Have you kind of seen anything within the industry?
Culture is just I think that the culture is under celebrated. Sorry for cutting in. I was just gonna say that.
Perfect.
The culture is under celebrated in general. You know, across the board, it's not. I think it's probably one of the hardest hit departments, really, by all this lockdown. You know, because it's kind of just like the forgotten ones, really. You know, left to fend for ourselves. So it's an interesting it's an interesting kind of new uncharted waters to be navigating, really. Like, with this whole lockdown business, like, what are we going to what's coming next? Like, what are we going to turn it into next? I guess.
Yeah.
It's weird in that sense, but yeah. Yeah, the industry. I mean, the Irish music industry. I don't know. It's there's no real structure. There's no real definitive way that you're going to make it from the bottom to the top. Let's say each person's avenue, from my observation, seems unique, and different from each other's. There's no way really to. There's no set guidelines. There's no way really to know how you're going to make it. So it's really just guesswork.
Yeah.
People are experimenting, exploring. That's what I love about it. You hear people creating, Irish artists, and maybe they don't make it, but they come back with a different project that makes it a bit further. So there's a lot of guesswork. There's a lot of experimenting here, because it's not like the American music industry where all the labels are.
Yeah.
Or even like the UK, really, where there's a bit more of a scene. There's a bit more of a kind of like a way. There's like a process that people are following that is showing success for them. In Ireland, it could be anything. It could be TikTok. That could be the next thing.
Absolutely.
I don't know what it's gonna be. I
You
hope
just
it's
gotta
not
keep
TikTok.
doing it.
I don't like TikTok, so I hope it's not that. It won't be
Yeah.
that for me. It won't be that for me.
Yeah. It has worked for some, but that's, like you're saying, one avenue, one avenue to entry, right? But it's a shame. I mean, it's a good thing, of course, that there's that kind of unknowingness almost of like which way to go, and I like the attitude that you're sort of giving off, and it'd be the same as mine. It's kind of like you just got to try it almost, you just got to see where it'll take you, and then if that doesn't work, you just go to the next one, then it's fine. You know what I mean? There's no real right or wrong, right? It seems like you just have to keep going and try almost everything, or try a few different things, and with regard to promotion, with regard to recording, like you were saying, you might put the rap in the front of your next song, and it's about experimenting, and it's great to have that sort of attitude. It instead of having being confined to, you have to be this way, or you have to follow these set of principles, which can make it seem easy in the short term. Mentally it might seem easy. It's great, yeah, but then there's too many people perhaps taking that route then, and then that might be difficult. So perhaps the unknown way is a good way. You just let people find it themselves, and the fact that there's multiple ways to achieve also is quite nice as well, isn't it? So maybe it's not that bad after all. I just totally spun around.
No, it's not. But I mean, I've just been reaching for positives, though. That's what this whole thing has just taught me, to just reach for positives, find it in some way or another. Like, I mean, my situation's not ideal, but I guess I'm putting a positive spin on it for myself, to just be kind of like, look, this is what it is. We gotta just kind of crack on with it. Like, I was excited to do loads of stuff this summer that I don't get to do, but I got to do other stuff. You know what I mean? So I'm not bummed out. I got to get on some streams. I'm creating, time has an interesting way of unfolding. The right time, right place kind of stuff. It's continuing to happen even through this. So it's not an issue really. Yeah.
I'm quite the same as well. Like, do like to look at the positive, but I like to hear it as well. People that are in a frame of mind sometimes that, everybody's dealing with it differently, I guess, to an extent, right? It's like some people are finding it more difficult than others, and a lot of people I've talked to, majoritively, a lot of people have the mindset that they're looking at the positive side of things. I wonder if it's just them as an individual, or is it a community sort of mentality that we're sort of generally all feeling. We're lucky enough to be able to even have those sort of be able to think positive, because I'm sure there's obviously there's people out there that are in a worse state, or a worse physical environment, let's say, even imagine being stuck with someone that you detest, or being stuck in a really, really small place, you know, building and things like that, you know. So there are these kind of situations. So for me, obviously, I'm grateful for my position, and I am kind of feeling that off a lot of people I'm speaking to, a lot of musicians. I mean, you'd be probably the 68th, 70th person I've interviewed in the past 2.5 months or something, and generally most artists are like, yeah, it's all good, and some of them are even doing something different. They're like, I'm gardening now a lot. I haven't touched my instrument in a month, but I've learned how to garden, and it's great. Have you figured something out yourself? Have you picked up something new and weird? Not that gardening's weird or anything. But
I've tried to stay creative as much as I can, stay focused on music. I have been a bit of gardening. I got some cacti. I got some succulents.
Oh, that's nice. I like cacti. Yeah.
They're my new buzz now. So I have I think I have about 30 of them up in the room.
Jeez, that's a lot.
It's a fair few of them. I'm gonna repot a few of them probably now. It looks like a nice evening, so I'm probably gonna do that at some stage. Or I think they're giving good weather for the next few. But yeah, it is beautiful.
Yeah.
With all the downtime, there is people getting out in the garden, and that's very important. Like to get in touch with nature, it's crucial. Like it. So that is really good. But I definitely haven't put the instrument down for too long. You know, there's time for cacti, and then there's time for
music
work then as
yeah.
well. Like, you know what
yeah,
I mean?
that's great.
Stay creative, stay coming up with new ideas, just pushing it, getting a bigger sound, and just kind of see what I can do in this new world. I think I went a little bit or nearly went into panic mode when all this started. Like I was kind of like, oh God, what are we gonna do? You know. But
I was the same, man.
Yeah. That's it. Everyone was a little bit, but you know, you learn to adapt. And I staying creative, I think, has even helped me to stay positive about it. You know, just working on songs, coming up with new ideas, new songs. You know, just kind of staying creative and staying in touch with people as well. Like, you know, as I said, the videos back and forth or whatever it is, song ideas, or get into video calls and stuff. And even this, it's nice to meet you, like genuinely. You know, it's nice to meet a new person on here. As you said before, now I haven't been doing as many as you. You know, you interviewed 68 or 70 or so new people, so that's really exciting. I've been, you know, pretty much connecting with the people I already know, but now it's nice to connect with new people as well. Like, so, you know, there is definitely positives to it. Like.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Yeah, it's crazy. Sometimes it takes something strange to happen to get closer with people, even though we're being separated physically. But I do feel like I've built some lovely, genuine connections with people, and which perhaps I wouldn't have felt time to you know, to be able to do that, because of course we are consumed. We can be temperamentally or however consumed by our own goals and aspirations, and it can be difficult to branch out from our own circle as well at times, you know, or give somebody time. But you know, or being in a bar, you know what I mean, and somebody comes up to you and says, oh, I love your music, and you have a chat with them for a bit, but then you have to go. It's like, oh, sorry, I have to actually pack down my gear, I have to do this, or you know, however. So sometimes time doesn't, you know, our own perception of time can sort of, you know, is restricting. Yet now we've been given so much more of it. We have more time to sort of, like, we're having a chat for like 35 minutes here, you know, and I don't feel like I'm in a rush to I know you have an interview or you're having a meeting after this now, so I don't want to hold you off too much.
I'm gonna be meeting with some other artists to collaborate, hopefully.
Amazing.
So that's quite exciting. But yeah, no, it's been an absolute pleasure being on. And I was going to get back to some point that you said there. Yeah, no, you're right. And it's like we've been given time to work out time, you know. We can work out what to do with our time. What do we want to really do with our time? What do we want to put our time into, you know? And I found that it hasn't changed for me. I've been putting my time into the right things, and I've been given more time to put into that. So I'm happy about that. And yeah, that's been absolute bliss, really. Well,
Awesome.
it's nicer when it's sunny. I think
Yeah.
the weather has a big impact on what you will hear my interpretation of how the lockdown has been. I think if it was a rainy day, you could be getting a bit of a different. Oh, it's been
Yeah.
so. It's been this. It's been that.
Dude, imagine if this happened like over Christmas or autumn, like November. Imagine if
Yeah.
lockdown started, like it'd be quite more depressing, I have to say. Shorter days and no sunshine
Mm.
and yeah, obviously the greater fear, right? Because these things travel apparently more in colder climates, or the flu is more
Yeah.
prevalent in winter. So, of course, that's
Yeah.
gonna.
God, I hope we get our winter back. I hope we're able to kind of jam and travel and stuff by Christmas at least. I
Yeah,
mean, it's looking like it's getting better. I've got friends out in Holland. A lot of that seems to be kind of opening back up. And
mm,
then, you said Dublin's opening back up on the 29th. I think that must be the same here. Or maybe
yeah.
a few places have kind of declared their dates to be maybe like July.
They might have it
Uh,
more some I think some businesses can just decide and they go, oh, maybe it doesn't feel right, or they have to adhere to certain parameters, right? And if they can't, they rather risk not risk being forcibly closed by the Garda, So
yeah.
some are taking more precautions and stuff. But yeah, it seems to be. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like, and I still don't want to get my hopes up. Like I'm optimistic still, but I definitely don't want to plan too far ahead because I'm gonna book gigs though. I think people are booking gigs now for September.
Yeah.
So I think I've booked something for November to be end of October and November. Um, but I'm
Very
not
good.
putting
Very
all
good.
my, I'm not putting all my whatever you call it eggs in that basket. Just in case. So. I still have to, keep doing the online stuff. I'd recommend just to still kind of keep. It's a great time to promote. For sure. That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
create.
That's
On,
good
on different
advice
ways.
right there. That's
Yeah.
guys, that's good advice right there. It's a good
Mm.
time for exploring this kind of avenue.
Mm.
Upping your skills on camera, upping
Yeah.
your skills on you know, conversational skills
Yeah.
across
Building
video.
website, man. Like
Yeah,
designing logos or learning how
yeah,
to use Photoshop or all these things. Stuff that's like musicians generally, either don't have the time for, or it's it can be costly to get somebody in on that, or it's quite time consuming to learn. But there was that chance. I've been doing a bit of that recently, is just trying to do a bit of housekeeping as well in the business. The stuff that you just don't want to like cleaning up your emails. Silly things like
yeah.
that I would never do. In
But
fairness,
yeah, but
I
I
haven't
mean,
really done it anyway. I haven't cleaned my emails yet, but I'm just throwing out suggestions.
yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah, we've been granted time, so it's
Yeah.
it's it's ours to do it whatever we please. We can sort out the emails. That's actually a good one. I think a
Yeah.
clear email kind of
Oh man.
inbox.
Mine is in
It'd be a
bits.
lot of a kind of clearer headspace,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
and definitely learning the Photoshop, learning all that
Mm,
kind of stuff. Haven't been doing too much of that yet, but that's one I'm excited to actually delve into.
mm.
Definitely, be getting the hang of that soon. I think we're gonna start looking at maybe some designs for merch and stuff like that.
Awesome, awesome.
Which is
Yeah.
an avenue I haven't been explored yet, but I'm excited to.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
there's all these kind of new avenues, new options. Got to get the thinking caps on,
absolutely.
in
Well,
these
it's
times.
great, and I'm really looking forward to, because you're saying that you're bringing the band together, you're bringing musicians in. So I'm really excited to see what you guys come up with, and I'm excited for you for the next couple of months, next coming months, to see where this takes you. You're only recently a solo artist, right? Because you're saying you were in some other projects before. So I'm really excited to see where that path takes you. Caleb, it's been an absolute pleasure having you onto the show, man. Thank you so much for your time, and it's been lovely
Thanks and
getting to know you.
blessings. Yeah,
Um,
brilliant. Thank you. We'll be in touch now that
absolutely.
we've gotten to touch base. I've been on to play a few songs. You know what I'm about. And we'll be. I know what you're about too. I'm excited to see. I'll probably go back and watch a few of your interviews. Are they accessible to watch again?
Absolutely, man. Yeah, you can find them on the YouTube channel, and I've got pretty much every single interview that I've done all separated into them, and I'm going to do that for this interview as well. So you're going to have like a separate interview video for yourself as well. So so you can share that around and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm glad we got to connect, and this is it. This is the great thing. We got to connect now, so now we know each other exist. And we also know that beyond that, we know each other a little bit better. So have a great collaboration. Have a great meeting today. Have a great collaboration with the guys. I hope it all works out for you, man. And stay in touch. And have a fantastic rest of your week, brother. Take it easy, man.
Spot on. Thank you, my friend.
See you, brother.
I'll catch you again soon. Thank you.
No worries. Bye-bye. See you.
See you later.
All right, guys. So that was Caleb. That was Caleb McGrath, also known as Cal Pacino. And that was my second guest today. My second and last guest. We're only having 2 guests today, which is nice and refreshing because we get to sort of delve in a little bit more, take our time a little bit, even though I am a little bit delayed today. But I don't mind at all actually being delayed. I'm more so concerned about my guests. I hope they... I don't like to rush people or anything like that, but it's lovely. We get to chill out a little bit. So I'm going to play... Sorry, just give me a second there. Yeah, so I hope you guys are doing all right out there. I haven't been looking at the chat. It's hard to multitask, so let me know what you think of the show. Let me know how you're doing. Who's out there? We got Keto. That's great. We got Suki. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Richard. What's the story? Here we go. And then great stuff. Yeah, thanks Richard for coming back on and chatting as well with Lindsay here. Lindsay, that's great. So I hope you guys connect because that'd be an amazing combo of musical power. Lindsay and Richard, 2 really talented and hardworking musicians. So guys, let me know how that works out, by the way, and if there's anything I can do to help. Of course. Keto, what's the story? You're giving me a big old woo. What's the story, Keto? You well? Let me know what you think of the show so far. Got 2 guests today. I'm going to play a tune for yous. Let's get a tune going. I'm going to just get a toilet break. And stream for 2 hours now. That's grand. That's lovely, jubbly. My next piece of music. Let's see what we've got. We got Danny Byrne. Danny Byrne is a Dublin-based singer-songwriter, has distinguished himself as a sought-after vocalist, guitarist and stage performer for nearly a decade. His voice has been described as smooth for easy listening, but his flexibility behind the mic allows him to add a variety of recording credits and associated acts to his resume, and he's no stranger to the touring circuit. Danny Byrne with Summer Songs. I'm going to leave you with that before I bring on our our single of the week, which is Rebecca Cappuccini from Viking Promotions is going to do that for us. So I'm going to leave you with Summer Songs for now until we bring in that segment.
Summer songs, I'm sick of your late night walks, nights on the beach, wetting our feet, all of that's all gone. I wanna sit in the cold and think about us, all the hairs on my neck will stand up, as I was so unaware of what I was coming home to find, and part of me wishes I left something else behind, to go back in time where I will be holding your hand, you hold mine, 'cause I'm sick of your summer songs. Yeah, I'm sick of your summer songs. I'm sick of your sunsets, I'm sick of these late night drives, all your assumptions and disillusions killing me inside. 'Cause I fell down once, but I won't fall again. I fell so hard right then, 'cause I'm sick of your summer song. I fell down once, I let you in, and I fell so hard, it hurt so badly now. I fell down once, I'm screaming, darling. Fell so hard, I fell so hard. I'm sick of your summer songs. I'm sick of late night walks, nights on the beach when I feel that's all gone.
All right, so that was Danny Byrne with Summer's, what's it called? Summer Songs. All right, so I'm joined with Rebecca Cappuccini here from Viking Promotions. Rebecca, what is the story? How are you keeping?
I have been enjoying the absolute hell out of your show today, smashing it. Caleb really shine bright as well. So thanks so much for pushing the Waterford Massive out there, because I think it's so important that you see the magic that is within our city. So well done.
Yeah, no worries. I'm glad you enjoyed it, and thanks for sharing Waterford with me. You know, I never would have known, ignorant me, you know, I never would have discovered them. So it's great to have someone like yourself sharing that stuff. So fair play to you. You're looking very blue. You got a blue hue in that room.
I think it's the clouds.
Is it the clouds? Well, it looks very positive. It looks very optimistic in there, especially with the shades. So we have a single of the week, courtesy of yourself. Tell us. I'm going to give you the floor. I'm gonna let you.
Well,
have
I wanted to share a bit of an anecdote with everyone before I actually give a review, because me and you were having were having the chats like we always do, and we were like, "What if I don't like the track?" And I was like, "Well, I don't really sugarcoat stuff. Like, I kind of say things as they are, you know." And there's a really cool story. Well, I think it's amazing. 10 years ago, I worked for a record label in Waterford called Ruby Music. And my boss at the time, another drummer, I'm just surrounded by you guys. It's amazing. He got this terrible review for one of the bands on the label. Mm-hmm. And most people would have just gone, I'm not dealing with this review because it's whatever. But instead of that, he sent it into all the local newspapers. He was like, a truthful review like this, whether I believe it or not, it needs to be out there with the world. Mm-hmm. So I think whether it's a good review or a bad review, it's a review and people need to say the truth.
Yeah, I actually really like that mentality. And to be honest, I prefer that than, let's say, somebody rejecting to review something. Then, and for it not to get known for its, let's say, mediocrity or a few little subpar pieces, you know, segments or whatever it might be, or which also might be subjective, right? Depending on the person. But I think that's better than rejecting a review altogether, to be honest. I know some people probably wouldn't agree with that, but I prefer that. Yeah, so that's a really good point. Yeah. So is this a good review we're going to expect today, or is this going to be... I think it's going to be a good review because I heard this song and I think it's actually fantastic. So it can't be a bad review, right?
This particular review is awesome because they're one of my lockdown
Thank
jams.
God. Jesus, that would have been awkward, wouldn't it?
Yeah, let's start off slow with my review process. We'll get to the bad one, I'm sure.
Okay, great. No, that's good to know that we can expect what's coming at least, yeah.
So today I'm going to review the Clockwork's latest single. They're a 4-piece post-punk band from Galway. They recently released The Future Is Not What It Was on June 12th under Creation 23's label. Stranded in Stansted and Bills and Pills are two of my lockdown jams. And actually, until 2 weeks ago, I had absolutely no idea those boyos were from Galway. Like, no clue. And this is the whole thing. Like, we're connecting and we're getting to know the island, but we don't know where half the music we're listening to is coming from, which just blows my mind on a constant. You know what I mean?
Oh, sorry. I didn't know I was still involved.
You're still involved. We're having the chats.
I know what you mean. Yeah, no, it's crazy. There's just so much out there. Yeah, on such a small island. Yeah, unbelievable.
So their video is a super fun supercut of live gigs they've done in the past, and then just real life kind of action, the band going on different buses and stuff, and it's brilliant. It's a banging tune full of honest, hard-hitting, majestic beauty. The future is not what it was. Couldn't be truer in this moment in time, really, because what do we know? Do you know? It's 2 minutes and 61 seconds long, and I love that. I love short songs because all I want to do when that song ends is press replay. It gives me a hunger for more. It makes me want to just hit it again and again and again and again. Now, I'm not saying bands should shorten their music, right? If you're putting out 7 minutes of absolute majesty, you do that. But if you can do that in 2 minutes and 61 seconds and leave people gagging for more like me, I think that's smart because you're going to get more streams, right?
Absolutely, yeah. That's definitely a winning recipe.
So I love the replay loop myself. They're truth bangers. They're a really soulful band, full of just they don't have any ego. They're just out there doing stuff. The music they're pumping out at the moment, like I said, it's just, I love it. It's so raw. It's fearless. It's so punk. They're incredible. So The Clockworks is who we're talking about, and the song is The Future Is Not What It Was.
The cops are sleeping while the shops are robbing us. The jobs are taken and the boss is a snob who thinks that time is cheating him. His wife's doing the same. Life is greeting us with a thank you and good day. Cops are sleeping while the shops are robbing us. The jobs are taken and your boss is a snob who thinks that time is cheating him. His wife is doing the same. Life is greeting us with a fuck you and good day. In the can, pan out two backhanders, course they can. That's just part and parcel of the humdrum in the hustle, man. Settling your debt, betting on roulette. That's what we get when narcissistic slickers stick us into more installment plans. Who puts stuff to the man? Pan out two backhanders, course they can. Cause that's just part and parcel of the humdrum in the hustle, and everything is fine, everything is fine, everything is anodyne. The mind with dreams are selling from a transit van. The future is not what it was. The future is not as good as it was. The future is not what it was. The future is not as good as it was. They're coughing up the coffers for a doffing off the coppers while they're stocking up the coffin. Something rotten in the office. Drop the bottom, blame all of the other players for the failure. While in the end the movie had nothing on the trailer. And the cops sleeping while the shops are robbing us. The jobs are taken and the boss is a snob who thinks that time is cheating him. His wife is doing the same. Life is greeting us with a fuck you and good day. The future is not what it was. The future is not as good as it was. The future is not what it was. The future is not as good as it was.
The Clockworks with their song The Future Is Not What It Was, and that was our single of the week, and presented by Rebecca Cappuccini from Viking Promotions. Thanks, Rebecca, for coming on and giving another stellar review for us. And yeah, it's great having you on the show, by the way. It's a nice addition to kind of break up the show a little bit and hear your thoughts on some great music. So you chose that one this week, so thank you so much for introducing them to me. I thought it was a fantastic tune, and I liked some of the points you were making as well with regard to the length of the song. I never even think about something like that, so that's a really cool, interesting thing to think about. Yeah, so guys, I've got one more piece of tunage left for you to close off the show. I know today was quite a nice short show. Still easing back into this radio, still kind of easing back in. There's some big things happening in the deMars camp recently, which I'm going to be releasing some information within the next hour of this show's completion. So, watch the deMars Events and Entertainments page on Facebook, and we're going to update you with some really awesome news. I'm very excited to share it with you, and we're going to keep doing the deMars radio. We're going to be back on Saturday, and I think we're going to be shortening it a little bit to 2 guests, but we're going to still keep playing some awesome local music for you, and we're going to continue with our picks of the week, and we're just going to have a little bit of a shorter amount of guests, less amount of guests on the show for now anyway, and then we're going to see how it goes, how everything progresses. So thanks so much, everybody. Let me just triple check I didn't omit anybody or anything, because it feels a bit strange finishing so quickly, right? Thanks to all of you for tuning in, first of all. So cheers, guys. Who's watching? We got Paul MC, man. Paul, what's the story, dude? Thanks for, I saw you tuning in and out there, man. Thanks for tuning in to the show. Really appreciate the support. I hope you're enjoying it. Lindsay, as always, thanks for being genuinely, interested in the show and the stuff I'm doing. And you're a great support, to the Irish music scene. And thanks so much for tuning in all the time. Richard, if you're still there, brother, I had an absolutely deadly chat with you today. It was so nice to touch base with you. Cal, if you're out there as well, brother, it was so nice to meet you. Lovely chat. And best of luck with everything today. I know that Cal has a few meetings today for an upcoming collaboration. Paul, let me know how. Let's get in touch, Paul. I might have something for you, actually, that might interest you. So let's connect. Before I forget, who else do I have? Well, Rebecca, of course. Thanks again for being part of the show. And wow. So tune in on Saturday. I'm gonna try and get something up for you today with regard to Saturday, an event page. Had some great music today, really, really fantastic tunes. So absolutely just delighted with today's show. Just really happy to be back. It felt like I was gone for ages. I came back in a new position, as always, and a new chair so I can swivel on. So it's making these shows a lot easier to deal with for the arse, anyway, for sure. It's much more comfier. So I'm going to let you go. I'm going to love yous and leave yous with a band called Dirtbird, DURTBURD, and their song Shake Shake Fail, which is a live recording, which I don't usually play live recordings on the show for no particular reason, actually. I don't know why I've just been avoided. I guess, I have no reason, but it's just habit. But I was suggested this song through that post on my personal page, which is still active, by the way. I've saved that post, and I've been getting so many great suggestions for music through that post. So, by the way, anybody tuning in, if you know anybody that would like to be a guest on the show or would like their music played on the show, just give me a shout. Give either my personal page a shout or the deMars Events and Entertainment page a shout, or contact Rebecca Cappuccini from Viking Promotions. Either way, you'll get to me, and we'll put you on. So here is Dirtbird, with their live performance of Shake Shake Fail. You like me? I give you money if you like me. Money. The money said you like me. If you give me all the money, said you like me. I give you money if you like me. Money. Money said you like me. If you give me all the money, shake go. Got a different look, got a different soul. Oh, I know you want it. I know you want it. I forgot to play one song. So I'm gonna play it now, guys. Last but not least, the amazing Richard. Sorry about that, brother. Just literally remembered there. I know, I've been awful lately. I've been absolutely awful. But I guess while I'm here, I will announce that we are launching a online music festival called Transmission. And you can find all the details on the link I just posted there in our chat. So you guys are the first ones to find out about this. And I'm just going to pin the information here. And you're welcome to share this. You're welcome to interact with it. There's still not all the information obviously is out. It's going to be released piece by piece. So I thought I'd give you guys the sneak information. And our website is active. You can actually sign up and receive updates as the time goes along. So you'll be the first ones to receive updates. And some of the, things, if you hear them sooner, it'll definitely benefit you, or could possibly, benefit you in some way. Because there are limited places, and there's unfortunately limited opportunity with regard to possible attendance of said festival, but I can't say much more than that. So yeah, just click on that link for more information. The website is quite minimalistic at the moment, but you can subscribe to it. And obviously want to give a big shout out to all the creators that were with me yesterday. We spent about 10 hours yesterday getting this all together. So Brendan Marsh, Dario Rodiguero, Keith, Mahan, and was that everybody? Yeah, myself. I'll thank myself. But yeah, no, the guys put in a lot of hard work yesterday to make all this happen. So you can click on that. It's Transmission. On Facebook, it's Transition Music Festival. Instagram as well has the same one, I believe. And then transmission.ie, where you can subscribe. But appreciate any shares on that page. Will be great. So I was supposed to be looking for something while I was telling you guys this, and I got a little bit distracted. I literally got informed that the website was ready to go. So I'm going to play this song. It's called A Night in Tunisia, or is it A Night in Tunisia? And that's by Richard Hernandez, our first guest of the show today.